down to the Hamilton Cardinals now, and the reason why your phone blew up at 5 o'clock in the morning. The big signing, Fernando Rodney is a Hamilton Cardinal.
Oh, exactly. And it was just like, and Eric wouldn't tell me what was going on. Of course, Eric Spearin wouldn't tell me. He's like, you're going to want to clear whatever you had on your social media posts or anything else. They about 9 o'clock. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Whatever. And then news broke and it was Fernando Rodney. I'm like, okay. Yeah. So that immediately just shored up the bullpen immediately. And then it wasn't just IBL circles picking up on this. It got picked up by Sportsnet, got picked up by CBC, got picked up by a bunch of the Latin social media sites as well, and it went national. It went to the Associated Press even. It was making some big headways here, bigger than Dalton Pompey was.
And we're talking about a guy that, he has a World Series ring, but he wasn't a long time ago kind of fledgling World Series winner. We're talking about a guy that won a World Series championship in 2019 with the Washington Nationals, and picked up save after save after save throughout his MLB career.
327 saves to be exact, and it's just one of these guys that he loves the game of baseball and he wants to play till he's 50. He's turning 49 in March, I think on March 18th or something right around that area. So it's just like he wants to play baseball, and of course Luis Bernardo will probably, I don't know how many people know the full details and everything, but Bernardo and him will go back as far as their days in the Dominican. So he had a conversation with Eric Spearin just on a drive, I guess, to the airport or something back in September, say, hey, Pappy, well, that's what he would call Eric, and say, we can get Fernando Rodney. And it's like he asked him if he knew who he was, and then Eric immediately turned his hat the same way so he could, he knew who he was talking about, and it's like, we can get him. So that started the seeds going and everything else. So then Bernardo worked down there, and of course the Cardinals were down in the Dominican last week doing a tryout camp of their own because they're looking for some arms and some other options as well. So. And it's just worked out as far as that stuff goes. And guys are worried how much he's going to get paid and everything else. But he's going to make the league minimum just like everything else. Just as far as they're going to stick it to the import rules to the T as far as this. Rodney's not playing for money right now. He's playing because he wants to play baseball. He thinks he can be a very impactful player for the Hamilton Cardinals this year. The franchise is Hamilton Cardinals owner Eric Spearin. Great to talk to you. I know thanks for taking some time out of your very busy schedule. Thank you for not texting me at 5 o'clock in the morning every day to wake me up to that sort of thing, but that's okay. Some news is worth waiting for. Other news is like, okay, you gotta let the cat out of the bag, sort of.
Exactly. It's almost never ending at times, so you never know when some of the news is going to drop.
Oh, exactly. So you guys have had probably the busiest offseason in recent memory as far as, take us back, I guess the first one that really came through was Owen Boone first, then it was Fernando Rodney, and then it was Jonathan Salazzo. So it was just like one after another, and it was just like, okay, now what's going on? So it's just like every time I turned around, it's like, yeah, Eric's texting me again. We got news dropping about so-and-so time.
It's been a bit of a whirlwind off season. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't say, we lost Larry Wood. Back in September. Larry had passed away, and that had really rocked our worlds. Emotionally. Larry was like family. Yeah. To the organization, to myself, to Anna. We've gotten so close to the family, and
exactly. And
huge.
Well, I remember when the news broke the day after the championship, and I was just like, I didn't know if you knew yet or not, so I didn't want to be the person texting that reached out or anything. I was just like, oh man, it was hard. It was very hard.
Yeah, definitely, and kudos to like all the other IBL owners and executives that voted for or that made Larry Executive of the Year. I thought that was such a good move, and I was so taken aback by that. And Larry's so deserving of everything he's done for the league, but for our team. Yeah, and Dom had such a great first year in Chatham. Certainly he was worthy of the award, and of course, what Josh did too. So, it was such a classy move by all the guys in the league for that.
Yeah. So as we picked up the pieces collectively, tried to repair our broken hearts, you went to work on assembling the roster for this year, and My goodness, like if there's any question in anybody's mind right now, the Hamilton Cardinals are definitely looking to win this championship this year. Not even only for Larry, but just to bring the championship back to that area for the first time since 1978. So it's been a long time coming.
Well, one thing that we were planning, like when George stepped down as GM in the middle of July, just before the signing deadline,
Yeah,
we were collectively trying to figure out how we're going to move forward. And basically, myself and Larry was going to work with our coaching staff, and Matt Creeley, our director of stats and advanced scouting. We were going to basically take a democratic approach to it, and then try to figure out a path forward without Lair. I ended up connecting with Perry Scott and Corey Eckstein with Ontario Blue Jays. Both live in Hamilton. I've gotten to know them, previously, actually for the past couple of years, been talking to Eck, and just became kind of like friends in the industry. And there's an opportunity to bring them in, and I thought that was going to be like, we're still carry that same process that we were doing, that democratic approach, but okay, now we're going to inject Corey and Perry into it, and it worked out really well and helped us kind of identify how we were going to move forward this off season.
Exactly. So of the, I guess we'll have to go through some of these. You have to tell the story about the conversation you had with Luis Bernardo on the way home. I guess he was he going home to the airport at the time, or was it just a casual drive on a Thursday night with you two or something?
Well, I think we were just driving. Yeah, it was towards the end of the season. I think it was after the season. We were kind of talking like how we were going to move forward and adjust the roster. And Luis was going to step down as a player and join the front office and the coaching staff. And he had, he turned to me and said, "Do you know who Fernando Rodney is?"
Yeah.
And I turned my hat and said, "Yeah, like, of course, Poppy. Like, of course I know who Fernando Rodney is." And he's like, "We can get him."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Really?" Like, Fernando would come up here and play. He goes, "Yeah." Like, he's like, I know him. And so I try not to like react in the moment sometimes. Like I try to take things, like, digest it. So I'm like trying to analyze and like, like this could have so many different meanings for us. And of course the league was moving to 5 imports. So that was going to open up another spot. But we were a little bit like, we want to focus on starting pitching, and Fernando being a closer, we didn't know how that was going to fit in. And of course, that's where kind of Owen Boone was like the first domino to fall for us. We knew that Owen was going to be available to talk to because he didn't play last year, and we were kind of itching for that deadline. And when that day came, we immediately got in touch with Owen and tried to do our best to give him a pitch. Like, to me, he's the best pitcher this league has seen in the past 10 years, and he's only known London. So I think he was going to take a huge risk on joining Hamilton, right? But I was kind of hinting like, "Hey, Owen, like, if you make this jump, we might be able to, do some, pretty exciting things in the league." Because we felt, well, if we have Owen, we could then have our 2 import starting pitchers with him in the rotation. That frees up Fernando, right?
Exactly.
And we were going down to the Dominican at the end of November. So I had asked Owen, respectfully, like, could you help us could you make that decision, if you're going to join us before we head down? And we were super excited for Owen to join us, and it's going to be a really exciting, exciting year for him to return to the league.
Oh, no question. I think when I saw the news from that one, I was just like, okay, Eric's been moving some pieces around, and then you dropped the Rodney thing on me at 5:00 in the morning. Then I think just when you guys were down in the Dominican, I'm just like, okay, either somebody's dead or something's broken at work. I'm not sure who this is. And it's like, okay, I look at the clock. It's like Eric. I'm like, okay, we got big news dropping. And I'm like, what time? You said 9:00. And I'm like, you're making me wait till 9:00. I think I said something choice in the bed and went back to bed for half an hour, but it was just like that. And then Jenny's like got up at 7. It's like going, who are we on the phone with? And I'm like, it's just Eric. It was like, oh God, what's going on? And it's like, he wouldn't tell me.
You have the reaction.
Oh, you got the reaction all right.
Natural reaction.
You got the natural reaction all right. And I think half my office thought it too. And I was like, because it wasn't really quiet. It was only bleep, bleep, bleep. And it was pretty earth shattering as far as that stuff goes. It's to land somebody of Fernando's caliber and namesake, it was just it still is. I equate it back to Dalton Pompey joining the Royals a couple years ago and everything else, but I think this one's higher. And I just figured how fast the news cycles picked up on it too. It was just like, okay, yeah, everything in my phone is blowing off. I had to turn off the notifications for everything because it was all just going crazy.
Yeah, and we got to know. Yeah, we got to meet Fernando down
Yeah,
there, and we were. It was so easy. It was so easy. Like I had read that New York Times article about Fernando before
yeah,
meeting him and why he was still playing, and for the
mhm,
love of the game. And he told me that he's I think he's 49, he's gonna be turning 50, and he said he wanted to play till he was 50.
yeah,
So he felt like this could be his last season, and Bernardo had really vouched how we do things, like how we treat the
yeah.
guys, and yeah, and like it was just a quick like conversation. It was just a conversation between myself and Fernando, and then I brought him over to meet. Of course, Tyler and Tanner were there,
Yeah.
Matt Creeley, and Bernardo was there, of course, too. So we went over, and I said, "Hey, come meet your new
Dream teams.
teammates."
It's nice.
And yeah, we
That was
took the
awesome.
photos, and yeah, we had an extra hat, and Fernando took the hat, drove home with it, and it was pretty
That's awesome.
surreal. And yeah, it was a great way to end the trip.
Yeah. So how was the reaction, I guess, from the Hamilton, like the players' side, the guys that didn't know that was going on? How much was the reaction from the guys that have already, I guess, have already committed, other than Tyler and Tanner, who were down there?
Yeah, they were all really excited. Such a unique opportunity to share a locker room
Well,
with
exactly.
somebody that's got a World Series ring, that's played 20 plus years in the majors. Yeah, it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity for the guys, and they were all very excited about it.
Yeah. All right, let's change gears a little bit. Let's go a little bit up the track and over to the conductor, Jonathan Salazzo. I know you've been talking about bringing him in for last year and a bit anyways. I know I heard rumors actually that he was going somewhere else at the signing deadline last year. So it was like when you brought it back up, I was like, okay, so that's possible. And then that's like you said, yeah. By the way, you got like 10 minutes. Something's breaking 10 minutes from now. Just go check your phone. And I'm like, okay, so yeah, what's going on now? And I wasn't expecting this because I had talked to John literally the night before, and he didn't say anything.
Yeah, I mean, we've always wanted John to come back.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had some discussions early. No, I guess right around the deadline in July.
yeah,
Couldn't come to terms. With Toronto, and we were trying to figure out how that could be put together. And we weren't exactly the most competitive team either.
no,
But I think we weren't that competitive at the deadline. Certainly, our record didn't show it.
no,
But heading into the off season, we were trying to. We weren't talking to John at that time, but we wanted to show him like, hey, yeah, we signed Fernando Rodney, Owen Boone's joining us, Matt Hildebrandt is coming
yeah,
back into the league. Coming back into the league and playing with us. So we were trying to like show to John like, hey, we're going to be competitive because we know how competitive John is. He wants to win a ring,
yeah.
and Hamilton, of course, wants his home, right? So
Oh,
he
exactly.
played with us. Connection with Jag, our hitting coach, and of course manager Chris Piano, and
Yeah,
he's obviously knows Dean Castelli being in the league too for so long. And I think we were going back and forth with Toronto quite a bit. Probably longer than they wanted, as much as we did. It was exhaustive on both sides, but
yeah,
it's definitely hard to part ways with the player that's been with the club for so long, right?
yeah. Well, no
And
question.
yeah, so it kind of came together. We kind of thought it was a little bit dead in the water early January.
Yeah,
And Dennis's name had come up previously, and we had
yeah,
thought like that Dennis was going to be coming back with the Cardinals, and that's why we went ahead and re-signed him. Obviously Dennis is a high caliber player. He was an all-star this
yeah,
past year, and provides significant value and to Toronto. And our need was like infield. We were
yeah,
going through and we're like, we really need an infielder. We're kind of trying to change what our minimum standards were,
yeah,
in terms of the players that we were going to have on our roster, or who Piano may think is going to be in the starting lineup. So, you know, when looking at the available infielders, there wasn't too much available for us. Of course, we added Brandon Nickel, who we were super excited about.
Yep.
But yeah, we just knew we had to move on to Salazzo. And yeah, I think I got a text like early in the morning from our manager, Piano, and there was open dialogue going back and forth between the two teams and the two coaches actually. So yeah, they told us what it would take to get it done, and I said, okay, like let's do this, like we'll kind of once and for all, and yeah, we were able to put it together, and yeah, we were just so excited that John was gonna come back and be a Hamilton Cardinal again.
Well, you can just see the look on his face. Even when Mark and I interviewed him, it was just like he was so excited. It's just I think he was also kind of relieved. He was out of the, I don't want to say the mixing glass or the hourglass or the spotlight in Hamilton, or Hamilton's gonna be slightly different as far as Toronto and everything else. The Toronto fans seem to ride those guys pretty hard some nights too. So it's just, whereas Hamilton just embraces the guys and just love the game of baseball, and you can just see what the younger kids that are around all the time, just learning the game. And I think that's a great ambassador of the game to have like a guy like John in your lineup.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's just so much comfort there knowing our coaching staff. And we're just thrilled. We're just so thrilled. We can't wait to see him back. Of course we're black and red now compared to what the Cardinals were previously when John played. But hey, I saw that picture.
I saw that picture of him with the Hamilton Thunderbirds jersey on. I'm going, oh man, I almost completely forgot what those colors were.
Yeah, but we got some great photos of John in the old Cardinals gear, and we even put them on some of our schedules that have been printed and that we're going to distribute out throughout the community. We're excited. I think he's really pumped too. I know the organization is a lot different, since he was a Cardinal. We're looking forward to really kind of showing him and all the new players to the team, kind of like how we've really built up the infrastructure. I think that's the biggest thing that we've done in our player recruitment is I think in order for us to be a successful organization, we need to have like the best infrastructure top to bottom. So what I mean by that is housing our out of town players. I think we're the only team that actually owns a bus. So we do have our own team bus, but we also pay for gym memberships for the guys through Crunch Fitness. We have a partnership with Crunch. We try to give the guys all the tools that they need to be successful. I think, with that, it's gonna result in us just creating the best environment for all the guys.
All right, let's shift gears away from the Hamilton Cardinals for a second. Let's look at, I guess we got to mention the All-Star game. It is coming to Hamilton, and I'm excited for this. I'm really, really excited to it. It's nice to see. I remember we were half joking. I think we were walking down the stairs the one day. Jono pulled us from Cable 14. He's like, yeah, are we hosting the All-Star game? He's like, I don't know. You got to go talk to Eric. And I think he grabbed you like 2 minutes later and said he wants to host the All-Star game. And I think that's really, I don't know if that had just where it started or what, but it was kind of surreal how that happened so quickly.
Yeah, we thought like maybe we'll be next. We knew Ted wants the All-Star game, the All-Star showdown to rotate between the cities. We all have to take our turn. And Welland's a great example for us to learn from and to build upon. So yeah, we're pretty excited about it. We're gonna do a formal announcement pretty soon. We do have the All-Star Showdown logos finished and our home run derby.
I still have not seen those.
Cable 14.
We'll
share it with you. Pretty soon. Like we're gonna, Brantford, of course, is transacting very soon. That's going to be public here in a couple days. But shortly thereafter, we'll make formal announcements about the All-Star Showdown. And one thing that we can say is we are going to be putting together a charity softball game the day before on the Saturday. So
all right, I'm canceling my plans on the 19th.
We got some pretty cool things planned, but we're looking forward to putting our own spin on it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for the league.
So you're now approaching, I guess, you're number 3 officially as an owner in this league. How do you feel as far as how is your comfort level from the last? I know the first year you seemed like you were just trying to get through everything and just trying to learn on the go. Last year you seemed to be more relaxed. You knew what you wanted to do and everything else. This year I think you've got some goals set up for yourself personally, the team obviously. What's your mindset going to year 3?
I think year 3 we're a little bit more put together, a little bit more structured than we were. The first year we were flying by the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
Just trying to learn everything on the go. Second year, we had those first year learnings in place, but we still didn't have a lot of things structured. But we had a 45% growth in our sales and our revenue from 23 to 24, which really told us that we were on the right track on doing things from a business side. But I think baseball, it weighed really heavily on me that we are a below 500 club under my ownership.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts. Like, to me, that's not acceptable.
No, I get that.
Yeah, and we needed to really kind of, like I said before to you previously, is like I felt like I needed to invest my time, invest into building up our baseball operations.
Yep.
And we went out and purchased a TrackMan that we took down to the Dominican. But I think we try to implement a lot of processes to just be more successful on that front. Like, one thing I noticed was like the import selection for the league, maybe aside from Kitchener, and was all done like remotely.
Yeah.
You're getting emails and getting information about import players secondhand.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was a little bit of a broken system. So the trip down to the Dominican was really great because we were able to find two new starting pitchers that we brought in, Ramon Henriquez and Ramon Sanchez. But we got to see them firsthand. We also got to see some data on them through the TrackMan, and we were really impressed. And they were 2 players that actually didn't even like formally sign up. We did sign up for a tryout that Luis was taking care of. Both of them, I don't think they were ever on that list. Yeah, so that was, to me, it was almost like an insurance policy, that trip, to make sure that those decisions on the imports were going to be beneficial. Yeah. So, putting in the systems in place, and Matt on the data side, we acquired a lot of collegiate baseball data, looked at a lot of comparables between players that are in our league now to what they did in other leagues, other collegiate summer leagues, but also within college, and how the strength of their conference. We took all these factors into consideration and just kind of really created a system, had weekly calls with Corey and Perry, and just active daily dialogue for our baseball ops group to make these decisions. I thought that was pretty healthy for us. And then, just almost try to raise the bar of kind of the expectations and the standards of who we wanted, on the roster.
That's great. Now, are you guys going to be leaning more on analytics this year compared to, obviously, now Matt's on board on a full-time basis, so obviously you're going to have his baseball knowledge and his statistical knowledge pretty much at your disposal all year long now. So that's obviously going to be heavier. Is it going to, what are the guys going to see on a daily basis? Are they going to have some sort of comparative stats numbers? Are they going to have some analytics stuff readily available for them when they walk in?
Yeah, I mean, we started to do that towards the end of the season. So just after the deadline, Matt was pitch tracking and putting together data and actual scouting reports for the players, sharing that with our group. And again, that kind of goes back to what I said earlier about the infrastructure, is that we need to really put in all the tools for everybody to be successful. If we're going to be successful as a group, we need those in place. There's just no reason for us to not be in that position. We have the resources, but also we're centrally located. I think that's one thing that doesn't get talked about as much, as our location. We're very central, so we're able to pull in players from Toronto or Kitchener, Cambridge as well. So it's I feel pretty confident that we're on the right path now on what we're doing on the baseball side.
All right, let's change to the front office side. Let's change to the marketing end of things. I know you probably saw the Well and Jackfish just announced their whole promotional schedule, which is pretty impressive. I know that when you guys have got a couple of, I'm sure, other big things coming up your sleeves as well. Is there anything you want to let out a little bit without tipping your whole hat there? Or?
Yeah, I haven't. I saw the email go out today with Welland, but I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. But yeah, they're always going to have a fun time down there. We've just finalized our theme nights.
Nice.
We've just done that. Anna and Sophie have been heavily involved in that in collaboration with Emily Thompson, of course.
Yep.
So we finalized our themes. We will kind of have some of the staples returning,
Nice.
like our wrestling night, but we're actually gonna have a new partner for wrestling night this year.
Nice.
Thanks to Reed and his connections with Alpha One Wrestling. Alpha One's going to be
Nice.
coming in
Very
this
nice.
year. So yeah.
Oh, so I'm gonna have to watch out for heel turn Reed in the press box now. I'm gonna have to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got some of our staples, and we've got a couple new ones coming in. We are going to try to increase our fan activations. We've got our sponsors a little bit more involved on the in-between inning activations and the giveaways. So just trying to get everybody a little bit more involved and make it more memorable for their brand to just connect with the community. So yeah, we're excited. We're not too far off from sharing that. So I'd probably say by the end of March they'll all be out in the open there. Of course, we do need to put single games tickets available. We haven't yet. It's hard to think about purchasing baseball tickets when there's snow still on the ground, but that's not too far off either.
Exactly. The snow's going to melt this week, so we'll be okay. It'll melt, and we've got as far as that stuff goes. We got to talk about merchandise as well. I know there's lots of stuff. I saw Salazzo rocking out a couple of things. I was going, okay, that must be a new one because I haven't seen that one in the store yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of new designs that we launched just before the holidays. Retro's been in, so we've been. I think our big seller, we call it internally like the cute bird, which is like the 1940s like Cardinals logo on the gray crew neck sweatshirt. That's probably been the most popular item that we've sold. Yeah. So yeah, we're trying to double down a little bit more on the retro items. We've released a new cap with a Cardinals script, which is more of a classic.
So I gotta find room for that one back here somewhere then.
Well, you know what you have there is that H.
Yeah.
That was going to be our cap logo, but I asked the players to vote on what the cap logo was.
They went with the other one. Yeah.
They went with the other one, but I purposely put the H on there because they always had the H.
Yep.
So I've always been back in my mind like, hey, maybe we need to bring that logo back.
Yeah, I think I need to I got the Cable 14 one. I need the black one still. And whatever the new one is, I'm obviously have to get in line for one of those ones and hope Jenny doesn't steal it on me. Yeah. All right. So let's change one more gear here because we do have you on here. Of course, you are on the executive board of the Intercounty. And of course, you're mentioning the Brantford news is going to be dropping very shortly this week as far as everything else goes. So 3 new ownership groups in the league recently anyways. Is it safe to say we've definitely taken the pivot from being, I want to say, amateur semi-pro to more semi-pro, looking more professional as a league? Is that what we're looking for as far as branding, identity, and stuff like that as well?
I definitely think we're trending in that direction. We're not there yet, but I definitely would like to see it go there, personally. That's kind of the way that I view it. Mm-hmm. And again, the way that we try to treat the players and the staff as well, and the presentation of the game day. The product just continued to increase. I think that was the first thing that really drew me into the IBL was just seeing how good the baseball was. Like I was so impressed that this was like right here in our backyards, but the promotion and the marketing wasn't necessarily there for all the teams. It's so great to see like all these new ownership groups coming in, all sweeping changes. And I couldn't believe that I've always thought like, okay, maybe the league is going to be in this position in like 10 years.
Yeah.
And now it's like, we're in year 3 of me being part of the league. And like, I couldn't believe how fast it's moved.
Well, exactly. I mean, I think it's just unreal. Even like people will keep saying this isn't your daddy's IBL. And I answer back, no, but this is my IBL. So as far as that stuff goes, and I think that's the attitude has changed a lot as far as that stuff goes too. It's like, okay, it's not just a working man's league anymore. It's for a lot of guys that got a lot of talent.
Yeah, it's very much getting away from that. I think there has been think there's been struggle at times, throughout the league of kind of like this push and pull of like that opinion still, trying to push out. But yeah, it's definitely accelerating a little bit more to semi-pro. It's just, the way that we treat the players, and basically bringing in players. We bring in 12 players every year.
Yeah.
That we house and that they're in the community, but they're here just to play baseball, right?
Yep.
So I definitely see, and we're trying to carve out our own infrastructure to support a full roster that is here just to play baseball. I think that's eventually where the league is going to head, and I think that's the best thing for the fans, the owners. Like, it's just going to be a better product, and hopefully maybe some more games in the future. But yeah, we're definitely on the path of that.